I'm cleaning these little pigtails that plug in with that hold these lights that go over the top here. I've replaced them in the past. I'm not replacing them this time. You can see I've got some tape around where I soldered the wires together. I took this one off and cleaned the inside of it out with compressed air and put it back on. The inside of these, now I don't know what I'm getting with these camera glasses, so I'm just gonna rock it up and down and hope that it gets in there. But it's really dark and a little bit corroded in there, the contacts. So what I'm going to do is get back down from here. Right here I got a little glass with about a heaping teaspoon of baking soda waiting for me in some water. Over here I'm going to take some vinegar, take a paint can lid or top. So basically just going to get that in there and let it soak for a little bit. Keep it wet with vinegar. Maybe if I can get this to just hang. Just let that sit for a little bit. And I'm going to go back in the garage and get a like a toothbrush that's got wire brush instead of, it's not for teeth. And come back out here in a minute and clean that. And I got a couple others I need to look at, but this one's been flickering on and off. Sometimes it's on, sometimes it isn't. Let's take this one off and see what we got here. They're all wet on the inside. That's not good. This one's even getting some rust. It's been wet a long time. And the bulb is far from burned out. Well, it's getting dark. I guess it is getting close. So these need, there, see my glasses? The camera is right here in the center. That's a little bit green in there too. I'm gonna do this one the same way. This is Saturday morning and I'm off work until Tuesday. I took off all this past week. And I got another video coming up on these hoses, these pipes that are very expensive for this truck because the truck's old and they're not really making stuff for it anymore a whole lot. So got new hoses, this is new, and I did some work on the pipes. That's another video. There's the overflow tank, or the whatever you call it, reservoir for putting antifreeze in. That and this pipe here, I refinished those because this pipe here cost, with new antifreeze that I just cheap antifreeze from the farm supply store, since I just drive local, that truck doesn't get very many miles on it. It rusted and a hole just fell out of it right here. And it cost me $350 approximately for the pipe and took over a week to get it. And so I patched it just to put water in it so that I could move the truck around a little bit while I was waiting for that part to get here. Don't know how well I'm going to get in there. A little bit, anything's better than nothing. I painted that pipe and that tank yesterday, but first I had a coat of rust treatment on there. You'll see that if you look at the other video. It took 24 hours to dry. Well, the cure or whatever dries in a couple hours, but I'm sure the rest of these need that too. Actually, that one looks really nice. Look at that. Now, how come water's getting in these other ones and not getting in this one? Somebody's going to say I should change that bulb. It's getting dark. I got bulbs in the glove box. I'll change them when they burn out. Now, if I was on the interstate and going through scales every day, yes, most definitely I would change them all. But since I just run the same route up and down the street, hauling steel coils from one spot to another, I don't worry about this. As long as all the lights are working most of the time, and if one flickers now and then or one burns out, I got some bag of them in the glove box. Now here I got one that's good on the inside, but the outside is bad, and that's going to break. Those wires are going to get salt on them from the winter road, and that's going to rot that out. I won't make it through the winter on that, so this one I will have to change. That's a shame. It's good here on the inside, but bad there. Somebody's going to say I should change all of them. Well, if it was your truck and you were paying me to change all of them, that's exactly what I would do. Oh, here's a visitor. I went in the truck and got my bag of little light bulbs and things, and I found I got 2 more pigtails left. Let's do it right here. Don't know what you're seeing here, but one thing I do not do is use just crimp-on connectors, especially for anything outside. Never use crimp-ons alone outside. Under the dash is fine. As long as I can still see shiny copper on these, and I can, then they will. And it doesn't matter, there's no polarity on these, it's just an incandescent bulb. So if the colors don't match up, or your colors are different and they're not going to match up, it doesn't matter. Now what did I do with the solder? Oh, it's right here. Instant on soldering iron, only way to go. Pull the trigger and it's ready. Tin it. Don't know if I'm getting this on camera, I hope so. If you're not any good at soldering, I do have videos where I'm very good at explaining how to do that in the auto electrical playlists. once I blew it all out with air, there's not going to be a lot of action there as far as foam. Does look a lot better than it did, doesn't it? Looks like I'm going to have to rebuild this whole wiring harness up here on these lights, because I still got lights flickering after I replaced some of these sockets, and there was nothing wrong with it. But look at these wires, the insulation is just, it's just coming off everywhere. 22 years old, and here's some more over here. Let's just look at that. So what I got to do is, they come through this hole right here, and look, while I'm up here, I'll probably put some silicone or something up here on this. For the moment, I'm going to where am I going to cut that at? Cut it back a little farther. This kind of rings a bell. I think it used to come out of this piece here a long time ago, and there was issues with this plug, and so I just pulled it through this hole here as a temporary fix probably 15 years ago and never redid it. So I'm going to bring this inside and redo it, because all of it's rotten. First thing I gotta do is get some wire, and I don't have any new wire. So I'm going to take an old extension cord, and I buy these extension cords like this when I can find them cheap from wherever, and I use them for wiring utility trailer lights and stuff like that, or when I need a piece of wire to fix something. This is all I got to work with, and that's the good thing about my channel, is a lot of things I do is kind of on the fly without all the fancy stuff that the big shops have. So anyway, I'll get some wire out. I don't need all 3 wires. We're using black and white is what they used from the factory. We got black and white in here, we'll use those. And the green one we'll just roll up and set aside for next time I need green wire. Green wire is one of your turn signal colors. That's your right turn signal on trailer lights. On trailer lights, the yellow one is your left turn signal. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and measure this stuff out and lay it out here on the floor so we can get started. Okay, I got my wire stretched out, and I'm looking at something here that I didn't see when I was outside. These are the 2 wires. They're kind of yellowish. These are ones that I cut off right at the bodywork where they go inside, and if you see all of this kind of a checkered pattern in there, that's all cracked and broken insulation. And on this piece here, there's wire coming out already, and this is where I cut it off at, right there. So I'm obviously going to be making it a little bit longer and then attaching it on the inside instead of on the outside. Well, I'll attach it on the outside, but I'm going to push it inside, and I'm going to see if I can find some of that. Can't think of the right name for it, but it's that black corrugated stuff, that those sleeves that you put over wire looms. If I don't have any around here, I should have plenty of it around here, but if I don't, I'll buy some and put that on here before I call it finished. Well, the good thing is we only got 5 lights, and there's no particular rhyme or reason to how they go other than where they got to plug in at. So we got one over here on this end, 3 in the middle, and then one over here on this end. So that's all I got to follow. Got all my lights cut off of there, and I got 2 of them where the wiring is all black, and I'm going to dip them in acid. Normally I don't like to do that, but I'm going to do that because if I really had planned on changing this and all of these were working, I would just make a new wiring harness and go LED. Well, LED is not going to have these kind of plug-ins for these 194 bulbs unless you buy 194 bulb replacements. I probably wouldn't go that route. I'd probably just get the whole light replacement, that is the yellow part on the outside with the bulb on the inside. I can get a kit of those for like $55 or something like that through Amazon, but I don't have time to wait for it. Got to go back to work. So I've got to go ahead and fix this with what I got, and maybe plan on doing the LED thing later. Of course, the truck needs more paint on it than what I did. I did a little bit of paint work for those of you that didn't see the video on the repairing the hood. It needs a lot more paint work than that before I start switching all the lights to LED. And I really don't want to use this straight, but I'm going to. And then I'm quickly going to put that in the baking soda water. I'm going to let it stay in there. Spread these out a little bit. See, the acid's going to crawl all the way up. It's going to wick up inside these things, and I won't be able to neutralize it up there. Kind of reminds me of those CRC commercials that are so full of buffalo chips. I bought that stuff, it doesn't clean nothing. They dip things like that in there and it cleans it. It doesn't work. It doesn't clean hard water stains or nothing. Just false advertising. But this stuff here, you saw that with your own eyes. It dipped in there and it took that tarnish right off of there instantly. I'm starting at the end of the line, so I'm going to take the shortest pigtail I got, which is one of these two. It's going to be this one here, I think, because that's the one that least matters on the length of the wire. Now I'm just kind of watching what I'm doing here and not watching the video so much. I do have the monitor hooked up. All I gotta do is look up and I can see where I'm at. So kind of my fault if I'm not staying on camera. somebody's going to say, why didn't you use shrink tube on that? I'll tell you why. Just a temporary fix. I'm going to make a new harness again, and if I go to the LEDs, which I'd like to paint the truck and put LED lights all the way around it. I don't know if I'll ever do that, but that's one of the reasons why I'm not going with the shrink wrap. I'm just going to leave this old one out here as somewhat of an example as to where these things were. The whole light setup is about 5 feet across, so I'm going to put one right in here. Yeah, it's neat watching that solder just flow and suck right into that strands of wire. Okay, we're going to just repeat that right on down the line about 5 times. Got 3 more to go. Got it all done. All the lights are burning. Can't really hardly tell out here in daylight, but they're on.